Imagine walking onto a brightly lit stage. You don't have a script in your hands.
Oh boy.
You haven't been to a single rehearsal.
No.
But, the other actor standing opposite you completely expects you to know your lines.
Right.
Oh, and there is a line of, impatient people standing right behind you, checking their watches, staring at the back of your head, just waiting for you to finish your scene so they can do theirs.
I mean, that honestly sounds like an anxiety dream.
Totally.
You're suddenly thrust into this high-stakes, high-pressure environment where every second of hesitation just feels magnified, and you feel like everyone is judging your performance.
Exactly. And usually we're just talking about walking into a local cafe to buy a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But if you are doing this in a foreign language, if you are a non-native English speaker navigating a busy shop, that simple, everyday transaction can genuinely feel like an opening night performance, where you are just terrified of freezing under the spotlight.
Oh, absolutely.
So welcome to today's deep dive. Today, we're taking a really close look at a fascinating audio lesson that's designed specifically to teach English learners how to navigate this exact scenario. It follows these two characters, Lena and Jess, as they walk through the steps of ordering coffee.
And what makes Lena and Jass's lesson so compelling isn't just the vocabulary they introduce.
Right.
By stripping the cafe experience down to its bare essentials for a language learner, they accidentally reveal the hidden architecture of how we all interact in public spaces.
Which is so cool. So whether you are actively learning English yourself or you're just, insanely curious about the invisible mechanics of our daily communication, we're going to break down this interaction today.
Yeah,
We're going to look at the foolproof blueprint of the modern cafe.
And just setting the stage for this, the ultimate secret that this guide reveals, something that really should comfort anyone who has ever felt that high-stakes panic, is that even native speakers completely abandon complex English in these real-world settings.
Oh, 100%.
The secret to surviving the transaction isn't having this massive vocabulary. It relies entirely on understanding the underlying structure of the conversation.
So let's unpack that structure, starting right at the front door.
Okay.
We're going to look at the initial engagement. In the lesson, Lena and Jess walk us through the exact moment you cross the threshold into the shop. The worker smiles and delivers a very standard line like, "Hello, welcome."
Right.
And Jazz points out that the customer's reply should be just as basic, just "Hi" or "Hello."
Yeah, there is no grand introduction needed.
Yeah.
You're simply acknowledging each other's existence in a shared space. It's entirely frictionless.
Right, you aren't conveying complex information yet, you're just opening the channel of communication.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then the worker initiates the actual transaction. They ask, what would you like to order? Or can I take your order?
Yeah.
And Jess steps into the role of the customer here, and he responds with, "Can I get a cappuccino, please?" And immediately the worker follows up to narrow down the details. "Sure, what size?" Jess answers, "Medium, please." Then the worker asks, "Hot or iced?" Jess replies, "Hot, please."
It's so rhythmic.
It is. The lesson also provides variations, like saying, "I would like a latte," or "Can I have a mocha?" But that underlying rhythm never changes.
Notice the psychology of that exchange, though.
Yeah.
The lesson is deliberately showing us how this interaction is sliced into tiny micro decisions.
Oh, for sure.
Like drink type, then size, then temperature.
I see the pattern, but let me challenge this for a second.
Okay, go for it.
Looking at this breakdown, I can't help but compare it to a very slow, very controlled game of tennis.
Oh, like that.
Right. The barista serves the ball. Like, what size? You hit it back with, "Medium, please. Serve hot or iced. Return hot, please."
Right.
But is it really this clean in real life? Aren't language learners risking a total freeze-up if they expect this perfect tennis match and suddenly the barista throws a curveball?
Like what?
Like, I don't know, asking if they have the store's loyalty app or if they want room for cream.
Oh, yeah. That is exactly the fear that drives the anxiety.
Yeah.
But that fear is precisely why relying on the tennis match structure is so crucial.
How so?
Well, when you're stressed, like when you're speaking a new language with 3 impatient people standing behind you, your brain's working memory is just severely compromised.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Cognitive load theory tells us that humans can only hold a very small amount of new information in their active memory at one time.
Right.
So if you try to anticipate every possible curveball, or if you try to hold a massive, perfectly constructed paragraph in your head before you speak, you will crash the system.
You essentially freeze like an overloaded computer.
Yes, exactly. And the beauty of the micro-decision blueprint is that it minimizes that cognitive load. You do not walk up to the counter and declare, "Greetings, I would like to purchase one medium-sized hot cappuccino, please, and I would like to pay with a card."
Oh man, nobody talks like that.
Right. That forces the barista to memorize all your variables at once, and it forces you to flawlessly execute a super long sentence.
Which is terrifying.
Yeah. By waiting for the worker to prompt you for the drink, then prompt you for the size, then prompt you for the temperature, you're just letting them guide the choreography.
You're letting them pace the interaction.
Exactly.
You don't need a monologue. You just need to return the ball when it comes over the net.
Yes.
But this raises a huge question about what happens before the tennis match even begins.
Oh, the menu.
The menu. You step up to the counter, you look up at the giant menu board above the barista's head. It is covered in 100 different customized syrups, seasonal blends, esoteric Italian words.
It's a lot.
It is. Your mind goes completely blank. You don't even know what to ask for.
Yeah, that moment of standing at the register, staring blankly at the menu is so universal.
Completely.
The sheer volume of choices just overwhelms the decision-making centers of the brain. The predictable tennis match hasn't broken down. It simply can't start.
Right, because you don't have a ball to serve.
Exactly. But Lena and Joss's guide addresses this exact panic moment brilliantly. They pivot.
Oh, the pivot is great.
The lesson explicitly notes that if you don't understand the menu, that is completely fine. Their solution is to use a specific phrase like, "What do you recommend?" Or "What is popular here?"
Such a good trick.
In their audio example, Lena uses this exact tactic, and the worker smoothly suggests their caramel latte, which she happily accepts.
That pivot is a masterful use of social dynamics.
It changes the entire game. If we stick with the analogy of taking a test, asking, "What do you recommend?" is like suddenly turning a terrifying closed book exam into a collaborative group project.
Oh, that's a perfect way to put it.
Right. You aren't trapped by your own lack of knowledge anymore.
Think about the mechanics of what those specific phrases actually achieve. What do you recommend? Fundamentally shifts the burden of choice.
Yes?
You are taking the heavy lifting of decision-making off your own overloaded working memory and transferring it directly to the worker.
You're making it their problem to solve.
Yeah, but in a highly flattering way.
Right.
You're acknowledging their expertise in their own environment. Instead of standing there in a frozen state of anxiety holding up the line, you've instantly manufactured a natural, friendly interaction out of a moment of confusion.
So smooth.
The barista gives you an answer, you accept it, and the tennis match can safely resume.
Okay, so you've successfully navigated the menu panic. You're getting the caramel latte. But the pivot phase isn't quite over, is it?
No, because the lesson prepares the listener for the inevitable upsell.
Ah, the upsell.
The worker will likely ask, "Would you like anything else?" And Lena and Jas provide a helpful list of typical cafe snacks you might encounter here. You know, a chocolate muffin, cookies, sandwiches, or cake.
The upsell is basically a structural requirement of retail at this point.
Oh, absolutely. It's another predictable serve over the net.
But the most fascinating part of this section isn't the vocabulary for baked goods. It's how the guide teaches you to stop the transaction entirely.
This is key.
Once you've ordered your coffee and maybe a chocolate muffin, you need a mechanism to tell the worker that the ordering phase is finished. The lesson highlights one crucial, definitive phrase, "That's all."
That's all functions as a critical social boundary marker.
Yeah.
In any functional interaction, especially a transactional one, both parties need clear signals to know when a specific phase has ended.
It's basically the verbal equivalent of closing a menu and handing it back to the waiter.
Exactly. The barista needs to know you're done adding items so they can move on to calculating the total.
Right.
For a language learner, or really anyone feeling overwhelmed, having a prepackaged definitive phrase like "that's all" safely transitions you out of the ordering phase.
It's a lifesaver.
It signals that the brainstorming is over, the menu reading is over, and we are moving to the next stage. Having a phrase that cleanly severs the need for further decision-making provides an immense sense of psychological relief.
Which carries us directly into the next stage of our deep dive.
Let's hear it.
You've navigated the prompts, you've delegated your menu panic, you've dropped your boundary marker with "that's all." Now you face the final hurdle.
The money.
The transaction itself, the financial exchange. And let's be honest, dealing with numbers and money in a foreign language brings a totally different flavor of stress to the interaction.
It really does. Money inherently alters the atmosphere.
Yeah.
There's a tangible cost involved now. You worry about misunderstanding the price, handing over the wrong amount of cash, being shortchanged, or, fumbling with unfamiliar prompts on a credit card terminal, while the line behind you just grows restless.
Lena and Jazz guide the listener right through this potential minefield, thankfully.
I do.
They detail the exact pricing questions required. You ask, how much is it? Or what's the price? In their example, Jazz asks about an iced latte, and the worker responds, it's $5.
Nice and simple.
Later, for a different order, the worker says, your total is $8. The payment method question follows, cash or card? Jazz replies, card please, or alternately, I'll pay cash.
Right.
Finally, as the payment is handed over, Lena uses the phrase, here you go,
Yeah.
and it wraps up with a mutual thank you.
Pay attention to how remarkably stripped down the language becomes during this phase.
It's very bare bones.
There are very few pleasantries padding the numbers. It is highly direct.
It is incredibly direct, almost robotic. I look at that, here you go,
Right.
and thank you exchange, and it feels completely different from asking for a recommendation.
It does.
But I want to dig into the anxiety aspect here. Why do people get so tense about the payment part when the actual language, like the numbers, is usually the very first thing people learn in a new language?
That's a good point.
Right. Counting to 10 is basic. It's just $5 or $8.
Well, people tense up because of the context, not the complexity of the math.
Okay, what do you mean?
When money is introduced into the conversation, the casual social contract you just established over a caramel latte suddenly transforms into a legal contract.
A legal contract for a $5 coffee.
Functionally, yes. You are acquiring goods in exchange for currency. There is a right way to complete the exchange and a wrong way.
Oh, I see.
And the consequences of doing it wrong, holding up the line, angering the cashier, feeling publicly embarrassed, feel severe in the moment.
So true.
The stakes change from a social pleasantry to strict obligation. What Lena and Jazz's guide does so brilliantly is neutralize that underlying tension by relying entirely on fixed, predictable phrases.
It leans heavily into that choreography we talked about earlier.
Yes, the transaction phase is the most highly choreographed part of the entire cafe experience. Cash or card? Card, please. Here you go. Thank you.
Right, it's just a script.
Knowing this exact choreography makes the numbers far less intimidating because the framework holding those numbers is entirely stable.
Wow, yeah.
You aren't inventing new, eloquent ways to hand over a credit card. You're just performing the standard, universally agreed upon steps of the dance.
That's so freeing.
The repetition protects you from the anxiety of the legal contract.
And once that payment dance is completed, you reach the waiting phase.
Easy part.
The guide notes the worker might say, your order will be ready soon, or point and instruct, please wait over there. And then we get the grand finale of the cafe experience.
Name call.
The barista calls your name. Jazz, your coffee is ready. You take the cup, you say thank you, and you have successfully survived the entire sequence.
The loop is closed. And looking back at the entire sequence, it is staggering how little vocabulary was actually required to execute it flawlessly.
That observation takes us to the final and honestly the most profound section of this deep dive.
Yeah, this part is huge.
We've walked through the whole blueprint, from the front door to picking up the cup. But as we zoom out to look at the final section of Lena and Jess's guide, their confidence tips, we find a massive revelation about how we view language itself.
The lesson shifts from teaching the mechanics of ordering to teaching the listener how to reframe their entire mindset about speaking.
Jazz and Lena explicitly state that confidence will naturally build with practice. But they drop a bombshell right after that.
They do.
They remind the listener that native speakers use simple English in daily life.
So simple.
Difficult, complex grammar is completely unnecessary for these interactions. The key to success, they argue, is to speak slowly, clearly, and most importantly, not to be afraid of making small mistakes.
This requires a massive paradigm shift for anyone who has spent time in a traditional classroom setting.
Let me play the skeptic here, because this seems to contradict years of education.
Oh, what?
Are we saying that people spend literal years sweating over complex grammar rules, perfectly conjugating verbs, and memorizing academic textbooks, only to find out that the native speakers at the local cafe aren't even using those rules?
Basically.
But if I use perfect, highly structured grammar, won't I get better, faster service?
No, you likely won't. And it's a painful aha moment for a lot of language learners.
I can imagine.
You have to draw a hard line between academic language and functional communication. The goal in this cafe environment is not to pass a written grammar exam or impress a professor.
Right.
The goal is strictly functional, getting your caffeine and keeping the line moving.
The barista doesn't want an essay. They just want to know if the cappuccino is hot or iced.
Exactly. When you realize that the native barista is communicating almost entirely in sentence fragments like hot or iced, cash or card, next in line, you realize that holding yourself to a standard of perfect, complex grammar in this setting is entirely self-imposed.
Wow.
It's a fabricated standard. And that highlights why the guide's advice about accepting small mistakes is so vital to actual fluency.
But wait, doesn't accepting mistakes mean you are failing at speaking the language? Why encourage errors?
Because in functional communication, accepting small mistakes is the fastest route to sounding natural and confident. Yeah. If you are terrified of making a grammatical error, you'll hesitate, you'll stutter, you'll pause for 5 agonizing seconds to perfectly conjugate a verb in your head before speaking.
Oh, I've seen that happen. I've done that.
We all have. But that hesitation is far more disruptive to the natural flow of the conversation than simply using the wrong verb tense with confidence.
So saying, I want coffee smoothly, even if it's not the most polite or perfectly structured, I would like a coffee, please, is objectively better for the interaction than standing in silence for 10 seconds trying to build the perfect sentence.
Without question, functional communication prioritizes flow and clarity over grammatical perfection. The barista truly does not care if you use the subjunctive mood correctly.
No barista has ever cared about the subjunctive mood.
Exactly. They just need to know if you want a chocolate muffin with your order so they can ring you up.
That is incredibly freeing. It really removes the pressure of the spotlight.
It does.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, next time you are standing in line? We started today by comparing ordering coffee in a second language to a terrifying high-stakes stage play.
Yeah.
But what we've seen by unpacking Lena and Jas's guide is that this seemingly intimidating environment is actually a simple, highly repeated blueprint.
It is a closed-loop system built entirely on predictable prompts and easy responses.
The barista serves, you return, drink type, size, temperature.
Yep.
You pull the emergency brake with what do you recommend? You close the menu with that's all. You finalize the contract with card please and thank you.
It's all right there.
You do not need to improvise a complex monologue to get your morning latte. Perfection is entirely optional, and in fact, it usually just gets in the way.
And drawing from those confidence tips, it leaves us with a really fascinating question to consider about how we learn new things.
What's the question?
If native speakers naturally default to the absolute simplest, most fragmented English possible for their daily tasks, are language learners accidentally creating an artificially difficult, perfect version of the language in their own heads?
Oh, wow.
Like a pristine academic version of the language that doesn't actually exist in the real world.
That is something to chew on next time you are standing in line, rehearsing your order over and over in your head. Maybe you're practicing for a play that no one else in the cafe is actually acting in.
Beautifully said.
Just step up to the counter, wait for the serve, and hit the ball back over the net.